Imagine starting your pirate career by getting trapped inside a barrel in the middle of the ocean. Somehow, Luffy survives, then he gets rescued by a ship only for pirates to attack it. He escapes the barrel, eats their food, reveals a bizarre power that makes his body stretch like rubber and defeats a pirate captain with a single punch. But that's not even the most important part. This is the episode where Luffy announces the dream that will define his entire life. He wants to become the king of the pirates. Before Luffy had a crew, before he became a famous pirate, and before the Straw Hat Pirates existed, he was just a young man setting out to sea with almost nothing. He has no powerful crew. He doesn't have a massive ship. He doesn't even have a proper plan. But he has one thing that matters more to him than anything else, a dream. And episode 1 shows us exactly how that dream begins. The episode begins with Luffy stranded in the ocean. His small boat has been destroyed after getting caught in a whirlpool, leaving him completely alone at sea. But instead of becoming another victim of the ocean, Luffy ends up inside a barrel. And while he's peacefully sleeping inside it, a passing cruise ship discovers the barrel and brings it aboard. Unfortunately, Luffy's rescue happens at exactly the wrong time. A pirate ship approaches, it's led by a pirate captain named Alvida. Her crew attacks the cruise ship, destroys its sails, and boards the vessel to steal its valuables. And during all this chaos, we meet someone whose life is about to change because of Luffy. His name is Koby. Koby isn't really a pirate, he's been forced to work for Alvida after being kidnapped by her crew. His job is basically to obey orders and survive, but secretly, Kobe has a completely different dream. He wants to escape the pirates and become a marine. There's just one problem. He's terrified. Kobe has spent so long being controlled by Alvida that he doesn't believe he can change his life. Then the pirates discover the barrel, they open it, and Luffy comes out. Instead of acting scared, Luffy immediately starts looking for something to eat after defeating the pirates who attack him. Luffy and Kobe end up talking in the pantry. Luffy explains that he was trying to begin his life as a pirate when his boat was destroyed. But when Kobe hears what Luffy actually wants, he's shocked. Luffy isn't interested in becoming just another pirate. He wants to find the legendary treasure known as the One Piece, and after finding it, he wants to become the king of the pirates. To Kobe, that sounds almost impossible, but Luffy doesn't care. He doesn't look at his dream and ask, "What if I fail?" He simply decides that he's going to do it. And that's one of the first things episode 1 establishes about Luffy. His greatest strength isn't his devil fruit, it's the fact that he refuses to let fear decide his future. But their conversation doesn't last. Alvida learns that an unknown person has appeared on her ship. She confronts Luffy and Kobe, expecting Luffy to be a threat. Alvida is confident she's the captain, she's stronger than the people around her, and she's carrying a huge spiked club. But Luffy isn't intimidated. He openly tells her that he's a pirate. Alvida attacks, and that's when the episode reveals the first major secret about Luffy. Her attack should seriously hurt him. Instead, Luffy's body stretches, his body behaves like rubber. This is the result of a mysterious devil fruit that Luffy ate. The ability completely changed the way his body works, and suddenly Alveida's biggest advantage doesn't matter. Her weapon can hit Luffy, but Luffy's body can absorb the impact in ways a normal human body can't. Luffy then turns that strange ability into an attack. He stretches his arm backward, takes aim, and fires it forward. Gomu Gomu, no pistol. The punch sends Alvida flying off the ship and into the sea. Luffy has won. But the fight isn't the only important thing that happened. Kobe has spent his entire life letting fear control him. He knows what he wants. He wants to become a marine, but he has never had the courage to say it. Luffy's attitude forces Kobe to confront that fear. If you have a dream, why should someone else be allowed to decide whether you can chase it? And finally, Kobe chooses to stand up for himself. He decides that he wants to become a marine. That's why Kobe's introduction is important. Luffy doesn't just defeat Alvida, he gives Kobe the courage to start his own journey. With Alvida defeated, Luffy and Kobe leave the ship. Kobe is now ready to pursue his own dream. But Luffy has an even bigger journey ahead. He wants to reach the Grand Line, he wants to find the One Piece, and eventually become the king of the pirates. But there's one thing he needs first, a crew, and Luffy already has someone in mind. A notorious swordsman known as the Pirate Hunter, Roronoa Zoro. We also get a brief glimpse of a mysterious girl who was secretly stealing treasure from Alvida's ship. Her name is Nami. At this point, neither of them knows how important these people are going to become. But for the viewer, this is the beginning of something much bigger. Looking back, episode 1 is doing much more than simply introducing Luffy. It establishes three things that will define the entire series. First, Luffy has an impossible dream and refuses to apologize for it. Second, his devil fruit gives him a unique fighting style. And third, Luffy's journey isn't just about becoming the king of the pirates, it's about the people he meets along the way. Kobe is the first example. Luffy doesn't force Kobe to become someone else, he simply gives him the courage to become the person he already wanted to be. And that's the beginning of the adventure. Luffy's pirate journey has officially begun, but before he can build the crew that will eventually become legendary, he needs to recruit his first member, a swordsman who is currently being held captive by the Marines, Roronoa Zoro, and that's where episode 2 begins. If you're starting One Piece from the beginning, subscribe and follow the journey with us, episode by episode.